Honestly, the application process was terrible. It was so difficult and there was nobody to guide me through it, so I'm so glad I get to talk about this. Hey everyone, I'm Andrew, the physician assistant, and I'm here to answer your top questions about becoming a physician assistant. Let's get to it. All right, so the first question here is, why should I choose a career as a physician assistant? And can you tell me, Andrew, why you turned to this profession? Well, what turned me to this profession was I realized I wanted a career that was both service-oriented and meaningful. And the question was, what's a meaningful service-oriented career? When I was living abroad, I was in my late 20s, and I got really sick when I was there. And so I had to go to the hospital, and I spent about 3 days in the hospital, and I remember the doctors that took care of me really helped me in an incredibly meaningful way. And as I was thinking about it, I realized the most meaningful service-oriented job that I could do would be in healthcare. So the next question was, what should I do in healthcare? Well, one of my friends started saying, I just saw my PA and they were so personable and they answered all of my questions and I just loved talking to them. I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds just like me. So I decided to go become a physician assistant as opposed to a medical doctor or a nurse practitioner or a nurse or a radiology technologist. There's 100 things you could do in the medical field, but hearing that physician assistants were personable and that it only takes 2 years to become a physician assistant after your undergraduate career, that was really important to me too. Frankly, I wanted a career now, and PAs can do that, at least the way the education system is right now. All right, question 2, where do I even begin my path to becoming a physician assistant? What are your first steps in your journey? The very first step you need to do is to go onto the CASPA website. We'll put a link in the description below. CASPA is C-A-S-P-A. This is actually the website you'll go to apply to PA school. It also has a list of every single program in the United States, and it lists their prerequisites for that particular school, how many hours you need to have worked, and any other requirements that they have. So the first thing you should do is find out what does it take to become a PA, and I will tell you the different schools have vastly different requirements. Most schools require classes, of course, but most schools also require a number of patient care experience hours. This typically entails a job in the medical field. I believe medical assistant is the most popular job that counts towards these hours. So for me personally, I was a physical therapist aide. I was an athlete in the past, and the physical therapist that used to work with me, I called him and asked him for a job, and he said, yeah, come on down. And I had no patient care experience at all whatsoever, and my very first time I was there, the physical therapist said, okay, Drew, I want you to take this hot pad and go put it on the patient's neck. And I burst into a sweat because I was so nervous. This is my first patient care experience, and I put the hot pad and I put it on their neck, and I said, are you okay? And then I ran away. And that was the very first time I had to take care of somebody. Now, most of the jobs that count towards hours for PA school are like revolving doors, meaning to say that people are always coming and going. The job as a medical assistant, job as a physical therapist aide, I believe EMT is one of the jobs that you can do. And how do you find these jobs? You go on Indeed.com, you go on Craigslist, you go on these websites that post jobs, and they're relatively easy to find if you just go online. Type in the job, just make sure that the hours count toward PA school prerequisites. All right, everyone, question 3, how do I stand out as a candidate? Fantastic question, one of the most common questions, in fact. It's not a big secret, to be honest. You have to have great grades, and that's the very first thing. So if you have any C's or D's in any of the prerequisite classes, go back and take them again. Yes, it's worth it. And this is because PA school is hard. PA school is difficult, at least it was very difficult for me. Schools are actually really motivated to find students that will be able to finish the academic program. One of the best indicators of this is your GPA. I went back and took all my prerequisite science classes, and I had taken barely any in undergrad. And so for my prerequisite science classes, I had a 4.0. But of course that was not the case for the rest of my classes in undergraduate school. Now, aside from GPA, everyone also has a story. And I think as long as you can communicate your story, then you have a really high chance of standing out. You have to remember that the people who are deciding to let you into school or not are people, and they have emotions, and they want to see and connect with you. And if these people really feel a connection with you, they're much more likely to let you into school. All right, question number 4. How do you think the PA profession will change in the next 10 to 20 years? AKA, will I still have a job in 10 to 20 years? Yes, I'm quite confident that we will all have jobs in 10 to 20 years. If anything, I think the PA profession is going to become even more important in the medical field. As the medical field grows and we learn new things, we also become more and more specialized. And I think that's going to be true of physician assistants as well. For example, I can become credentialed as a surgical PA or an emergency room PA. And I think these specialties are only going to become more and more important, both to the medical field and to insurance companies, and frankly to patients as well. So I also think that over time, physician assistants are going to become more and more independent. As the law stands right now, all physician assistants have to have a supervising physician. Nurse practitioners, on the other hand, do not. Nurse practitioners can work independently, which basically means they don't need somebody to report to. And I think it's just going to be easier as we become more specialized and PAs become more important. It's going to be easier for us to practice without supervising physicians. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. I hope I answered some of your questions. And if you have any other specific questions, feel free just to type them in the comments section below. And of course, you can always follow me on my other social media pages. Links are below. We'll see you next video.